Hello and welcome. We are AQUAFREAK-GAMING, the developers of a 2.5D roguelite shooter game inspired by wonderful games like Doom, Hades, Call of Duty Zombies, and ULTRAKILL. This is Devlog 8 of SugarblightNightmare. Hello guys, I know we've been gone for like 4 months now, but it's okay. We weren't gone doing nothing, alright? We weren't being lazy. We were doing important business, okay? Now, when me and Aqua weren't doing our important business, such as watching season 3 of My Little Pony on repeat, we were, I feel, pretty locked in on getting features done for our vertical slice. If you don't know what a vertical slice is, it's basically a part or section of your game that has every single feature it needs to be complete, but not the full game. A good way to remember it is vertical slice is basically you bake an entire cake and then cut out a vertical slice of it, and that's your vertical slice. And a demo is you bake an entire cake but only use 50% of the ingredients. And with that analogy, I think you can understand the amount of work it takes to get to that point. And that's mainly what we've been focusing on these past weeks. So I decided to focus on a lot of small things first before adding big new features. And one of the small things I added was aiming, because at first we didn't even have aiming, and I felt like it kind of made the game feel a bit worse. It's such a small thing, but it adds a lot. And after adding such a hard and difficult feature like aiming into my first-person shooter game, I was too tired, and for the rest of the week, I decided to lay in my bed and watch anime for the rest of I decided to fix up a few bugs and just go around and basically tidy up things that were sloppily added in. That took a bit of time, but overall, I think it made the game feel a lot better. A huge part of our game and first-person shooters in general is weaponry and gunplay. And our game had none of that. It didn't even have weapon variety because there was only 2 guns in the game. One of them didn't work, and the other one was just a basic shotgun. So I decided to start implementing on that. While I was doing that, I realized that the system for how my shotgun worked was buns. It was straight cheeks. Like, it was actually horrendous. Like, everything was reliant on it being the shotgun. Like, if I wanted to add points to it, it had to be the shotgun. If I wanted to kill an enemy, it had to be the shotgun or the Uzi. If I wanted to do anything, it basically everything was hard-coded into the shotgun. And if I wanted to add guns into the game, of course it can't be like that. I don't know what I was thinking. Past me is a dunce. I don't know. So first thing first is I completely restructured the way the shotgun code works. So now it's not reliant on it being a shotgun, it's reliant on it being in the group weapon. So I can make any gun I want and just add it to the group weapon, and it'll work with all the other systems in the game. And after doing that, which took me about a day, I just started going ham on making new weapons. I made the revolver, and then I went and watched anime for the rest of the day. And then I fixed up the Uzis and started planning out more systems for more guns in the future, which we will go into more details later on. Because right now, it's time to talk about the biggest feature that has been added into the game. If you've paid attention to the gameplay that I've been showing in the background, you would probably have noticed something strange that doesn't fit in this game. That being a crafting table. Now, the crafting table itself is completely placeholder. It's just because I didn't feel like drawing anything. But what it does is really integral to this game's identity. Now, before you can even interact with this crafting table, there are prerequisites that you need to do. These prerequisites are not fleshed out right now. Prerequisites are basically just puzzles that you do around the map in order to gain access to a part. But the system that we've created makes it very easy for us to add them in later. And once these prerequisites are met, you are able to go up to the crafting table and build something. That being the soul box. And what the soul box does, it's a concept from Call of Duty Zombies where you have to gather enemies in a certain area and kill a certain amount of enemies around that area in order to unlock something. Sometimes it's a weapon, sometimes it's loot, sometimes it's a new area, and in our case, it unlocks the last steps you need to complete the level. Crafting the soul box will take around 5 to 10 waves because we don't want the player to craft it too prematurely and be super underleveled when they're in the soul box stage of the round, because this is meant for later game, and making it take a while to spawn kind of forces it to be later game. Let us know a feature that might help with that, because I don't want people to be able to just bum rush through it unless they have already completed it. Then once you wait the certain amount of waves, it spawns and you are able to pick it up and take it to where it needs to be in order to work. And once that process is complete, something that we will talk about in a later video, so stay tuned, will happen. And this is like pretty much the gameplay loop of each level. You go in, you survive, you find pieces, you do puzzles. Once you get all your pieces and you create your soul box, you put it in the conduit and you survive, and then the stuff that happens after happens and you go on to the next level. Now obviously in the full version of the game, a lot of this stuff will look and feel a lot better. A lot of the things you're seeing on screen is just placeholder art and, you know, just sprites that I pulled off of Google just to get it in the game visually so I can work on coding it in, because we have a problem with hyper focusing on art. And for this development session, we mainly focused on just getting function over looks, because when I get too focused on looks, things tend to take a lot longer. For example, here's some concept art of what we want the conduit in the soul box to look like. The soul box being this spider-like mechanism with legs and a drill at the bottom, and the conduit being a mass of goo and ooze with tentacles and mouths and eyeballs with a clear slot at the top of it for the soul box. And I wanted them to visually give the message that they are two completely separate things. I wanted the conduit to feel like it's a living, breathing part of the nightmare world, and I wanted the soul box to feel more mechanical and more like it's human built outside of the nightmare world, because they are separate things. The conduit is a concentrated mass of what we call nightmare essence. Nightmare essence being the currency that you use in the game, and it's just a really integral part of the nightmare world, and you will learn more about that if you play the game, because I'm not going more into detail. I will be yapping for 2,000 minutes. Speaking of yapping, I did a lot of that so far, and it is overdue time for me to pass the mic on to Aqua.
Hey, it's that other guy that does stuff on this channel, and I'm here to talk about something that you may or may not have already noticed, and that's the toon shader. If you already know what that is, congratulations, you get a cookie. And if you don't, it's my job to over-explain things, so I got you. Basically, all the toon shader is a little bit of a filter that you put over your map and your environment in general to make it look a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more like a cartoon. Hence the toon shader part. But yeah, long story short, we really just added it in because it made it feel more like a comic book, and that's kinda how we want this game to feel, like a comic book. That's why May, when she punches, there's a quip. And stuff like that. You know, we wanted to feel comic book cartoon-like. It's supposed to be fun, vibrant. Now, the toon shaders was something that weren't actually mentioned in the last video, but something that was mentioned in the last video that we also managed to add were the boons. And we talked about that all the way back in like the 6th devlog, so yeah, we finally got it in, along with a couple other things. But focusing on the boons for right now, all they are really just in-round upgrades that drop at the end of a special round, and we managed to get that working. All we have to do now is add more, but as of right now, you have 2 in the game. One, when you pick it up, gives you double damage, and the other one ups your fire rate. Now, of course, with this system, that adds a lot of variability to what we could do. Like, you can add so many different boons. You could have one that makes you shoot lightning out of your gun. You could have one, I don't know, makes your punches like do earthquakes or something like that. You know, one that can show you the love and support of a caring father. You know, there's stuff like that. But in all seriousness, this system is going to be very integral to your gameplay because it's going to allow you to get really essential upgrades after your special rounds. And we don't know exactly how many you want to add yet, but the plan is probably going to be around 20 to 30. Something else that we also mentioned in the 6th devlog was the pocket pals. You may or may not remember that from the live streams too. That's something else that we did. Shameless plug, go check those out. But basically, the pocket pals are kind of like your gobblegums, stuff like that. But we added a little bit of a twist to it. Ours is a crane game, and you can get different rarities of them. And that's basically all the pocket pal system is, you know, marketable plushies, so that we can sell you stuff and that you can buy stuff from us so that we can make more money because we're selfish and greedy assholes. Yep. And the last thing we're going to go over before we wrap up this long ad video is the addition of 2 new enemies to the game. Yeah, you heard that. An entire 2. That's a really big number, and I would know, because I can only count to 4. We added the 2 enemies, and the one that we're going to talk about first is the mask enemy. All he really is you shoot his mask, kind of like Call of Duty's zombies in Spaceland. Mask falls off, and, you know, he's super vulnerable. Second one is the eyeball enemy, and he's basically just your crawler. He's really, really fast. In the placeholder image, you're just going to see a crawling zombie, because we were too lazy to actually animate him right now, because animation feels like dragging your balls across hot iron. So yeah, that's those are the enemies we added.
That will be it for this video. Hope you guys liked it. If you stayed till the end, you either sleep or you actually enjoyed one of our videos. And if you did like it, please make sure you leave a like and also subscribe. We are currently at 63 subscribers. Thank you guys for the support. But we would like at least 100 subscribers before we release a demo, because, you know, we actually want people to play this game and enjoy it. But even if we don't get that amount, we will still release a demo because we have passion for this project and I'm not just gonna let it fail like that. But yeah, stay tuned. New devlog will be out soon and we will be adding a lot more. This game is still pretty early in development. So yeah,